The clang of the prison gates echoed through the cold concrete halls. Marcus King, a tall, quiet black man in his late 30s, kept his eyes forward, hands cuffed, as the guards shoved him into the general population block. "Innocent," he kept telling himself over and over, but no one here cared. He'd been wrongly convicted, set up on fraud charges, and now, here he was, surrounded by hardened criminals, predators, and gangs who ruled the cell blocks like kings. As Marcus walked, whispers spread like wildfire. "New meat. Look at that one. He won't last a night." But they had no idea. You see, Marcus wasn't just some unlucky man off the street. Before this nightmare, he had a past he didn't talk about. A past hidden under layers of discipline, silence, and scars. Marcus King was a legendary Delta Force commander, one of the deadliest operatives the U.S. military had ever produced. His name was buried in classified files, his missions wiped from history. But the prison gangs didn't know that. Not yet. That night, in the dim prison yard, Marcus sat alone on the cold bench. He watched the moonlight hit the fences, the sharp glint of barbed wire, the tall watchtowers. His body looked still, almost relaxed, but his mind was scanning, calculating, reading every movement around him. That's when they came. 5 men, tattoos, scars, prison jackets. "You're in our block now, fresh meat," the leader Rico snarled. "Hand over your shoes and your food share, or we break your ribs." Marcus slowly raised his head, eyes calm, almost bored. He said nothing. The gang circled, laughing. "I don't think you get it, man," Rico snapped, shoving Marcus hard. "We run this place, you don't even belong here." Marcus didn't flinch. His breathing remained slow, measured. His hands rested on his knees, relaxed. But if you knew what to look for, you'd see it. The way his weight shifted slightly on his feet, the subtle turn of his shoulders, the way his eyes tracked every gang member's distance and angle. It was the stance of a man who had survived war zones, who had taken down rooms full of armed men, who had killed efficiently when no one else could. Rico spat. "Last chance, man. Give it up." Marcus spoke, finally. His voice was low, calm, almost disappointed. "You should walk away." The gang burst into laughter. "Are you serious?" one of them snorted. Without warning, Rico lunged. That's when it happened. Marcus's body moved like lightning. His legs shot out, sweeping Rico's feet out from under him, slamming the gang leader flat on his back. Before anyone could react, Marcus sprang up, striking 2 more men with brutal precision, elbow to the jaw, fist to the throat. Another tried to pull a shank, but Marcus was faster, twisting his arm and snapping it at the elbow like it was nothing. The yard went silent. By the time the guards ran over, 3 men were on the ground groaning, and Marcus was standing calmly, hands behind his back. The guards stared. The inmates stared. Word spread fast. In his cell that night, Marcus sat cross-legged on his cot, eyes closed. He could hear the whispers moving through the block. Who is that guy? Where did he learn to fight like that? He's not just some civilian, man. That's military. Marcus didn't care about the gossip. He didn't care about making a name. All he wanted was to survive long enough to clear his name, get out, and go home. But the gangs weren't going to let it go. Rico wasn't going to let it go. And in the shadows of the prison, bigger forces were paying attention. Because when you drop a lion into a pit of hyenas, you don't just get a fight, you get a war. And Marcus King, he was ready. By the next morning, the entire prison knew the name Marcus King. The guards watched him more closely now, whispering among themselves. The gangs, who normally ruled the blocks without challenge, were rattled. They weren't used to anyone, especially a new arrival, putting Rico's crew on the ground. Inside the mess hall, Marcus quietly ate his breakfast. His movements were smooth, efficient, almost disciplined. He didn't glance up, even though he could feel dozens of eyes on him. That's when the message came. A small slip of paper, passed from hand to hand, set on his tray. "Yard, noon, bring your courage." Marcus folded the paper calmly, tucked it under his tray, and kept eating. He already knew what was coming. Rico wasn't going to let the humiliation slide. He'd gather every gang member he could, knives, pipes, fists, and they'd come at Marcus all at once. What they didn't know was, Marcus had seen worse. Noon. The sun blazed over the cracked yard pavement. Prisoners stood in small groups, some pretending not to look, others openly waiting, whispering about what was about to happen. Marcus stepped onto the yard, sleeves rolled up, face calm. He looked at the line of men waiting for him. Rico stood at the front, a dark grin twisting his face. "You think you're tough, soldier boy?" Rico sneered. "Let's see if you can handle a real fight." Marcus said nothing. His eyes flicked briefly over the men, noting their weapons, their footwork, their tension. He let them make the first move. Rico charged. In a blur, Marcus ducked, grabbed Rico's arm, and flipped him hard onto the pavement. Before the others could react, Marcus spun, striking two attackers with rapid, devastating blows, a knee to the chest, a palm strike to the throat. Another lunged with a knife. Marcus sidestepped, grabbed the man's wrist, twisted, and the knife clattered to the ground. One by one they fell. It was brutal, efficient, and fast. By the time the guards stormed the yard, the gang lay groaning and gasping on the ground, and Marcus stood alone, chest heaving, but unbroken. The yard went silent. That night, something changed. The gangs backed off. The guards watched him with new wariness. Even the warden called Marcus into his office. "You've got military in you," the warden said carefully, tapping Marcus's file. "But that's not what you're in here for." Marcus stared calmly. "I didn't commit the crime I was charged with." The warden frowned. "I know." For the first time, Marcus felt a flicker of hope. 2 weeks later, Marcus sat in the visitation room, face to face with a sharp-suited lawyer. "We've got new evidence," the lawyer told him. "Your case, it's going to be reopened. You could be out by the end of the month." Marcus exhaled slowly, tension rolling off his shoulders. Finally, but the lawyer leaned forward. "There's something else." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "The agency knows you're here. Delta Force. They've been following everything." Marcus's eyes narrowed. "Why?" "Because they want you back." The final days in prison were quiet. Rico's gang left him alone. Word had spread far and wide. Marcus King wasn't just another prisoner. He was a ghost, a shadow, a man whose past was written in classified reports and whispered among soldiers. And when the gates opened, when Marcus walked out into the sunlight, duffel bag slung over his shoulder, he knew one thing for sure. They had underestimated him. They had all underestimated him. And now, with his freedom back, he was ready to finish what had been started, to clear his name fully, to hold accountable those who had framed him, and to remind the world exactly who they had locked up. Marcus King, the legendary Delta Force commander, was back, and the world had no idea what was coming.